Before going into the topic details, I want to bring your attention to the UPSC coaching programs offered by ClearIAS. ClearIAS offers online and offline courses to help candidates get selected for prestigious government services like IAS, IPS, or IFS. ClearIAS, Prelims cum Mains, PCM course, provides a highly effective study plan, well-organized subject-wise videos, study materials, mock exams, and guidance to cover the entire GS syllabus of UPSC CSE Prelims, Mains, and Interview systematically. As a limited-period offer, there is a 40% discount on our online courses. Enroll now.
So SpaceX, the company owned by Elon Musk, they actually created something that is actually nicknamed as Mechazilla.
Attention all operators on countdown 1. This is the final go, no-go poll for Starship Flight 4. Stage 1.
Go.
Stage 2.
Go.
Levi 2.
Go.
Flight directors, go for launch. We have liftoff.
Vehicles pushing downrange.
So what is actually Mechazilla? That is what we are going to look into. So I hope you have seen the image or the video, something related with that. So what is this thing? It is a significant milestone, and in the what is known as space exploration. And what actually happened, we'll just understand that this is actually one of the booster engines. What is, for example, if we consider a rocket like that, so there is actually a satellite part like that. Initially, one part will be there, and then another part will be there, and then another, something like that. So different stages can be there in a rocket. For example, the last stages is actually these are the first stages which get burned, right, initially. So when we go up, then this part actually falls down, then only this part is actually remaining. So that actually happens. So what is actually you're seeing this is actually a new rocket, but this is the most powerful rocket. This is the most largest rocket ever. That is known as Starship, the new rocket of SpaceX. So this particular part is actually known as the super heavy booster. That is the initial part which was actually going up. So this super heavy booster of that Starship, when it was actually going up, it actually started falling down after its work is done. So when it was actually falling down, what happened was that under the gravity, it was simply coming down to explode. So when it was actually coming down, this particular thing that is actually known as Mechazilla. So what are these things? This is what is known as chopsticks, or you can say mechanical arms. So these are two different chopsticks, just like a Japanese or Chinese chopstick. These are mechanical arms. When this particular booster engine was falling down, they simply caught it. Using the mechanics and everything, they simply caught this particular thing. So this is the video. You can simply go to YouTube and watch the image and all. So this is what actually happened. And why we are actually discussing all these different things? Because it is actually one of the initial moments of rocket recovery. Yes, SpaceX has done this rocket recovery before. How? They simply landed this particular booster engine back to the land. They have done that. But once it is actually landing in a place, then it has to be remodeled, then it has to be dismantled. Then again, you have to take it to some other place to create the rocket again, etc. Here, nothing is actually getting destroyed. You're simply catching back the rocket part, that is the engine part. So they are telling that within 30 minutes, this particular booster engine will be ready for another launch. So just imagine our ISRO or PSLV or GSLV, etc. To launch a PSLV, we'll be thinking something like a 6 to 7 months. All the different 7-month preparation will be there. That is known as the turnaround time. I'm not saying that 6 to 7 months. I'm saying that a lot of time is actually taken to develop one rocket actually. That is the current status. But when such a thing actually comes, just imagine within 30 minutes you can go for another launch. A new satellite will be going. Then it will come back. 30 minutes, around one hour time, another satellite will be launched. So continuously, the turnaround time is actually extremely reduced. Turn around time is actually extremely reduced. And why this particular thing, that is a Starship, is actually doing all these things, that we have to understand. So this is actually an efficient method of rocket recovery. It is still definitely in the initial stages. And this is actually part of what is known as Starship, which is still under development. The trials are still going. So this is actually the Starship, and this is the part which was actually recovered. This part, no, it actually failed out and they just caught it back. So this is the part which was actually captured back. And why we are actually giving so much emphasis to Starship is that it is definitely the largest and the most powerful rocket yet to be made by that is actually created by the human beings. So it is actually now a two-stage, fully reusable rocket. So this particular stage and the second stage is also reusable. So they are actually planning to recover the second stage also, so that the rocket will be completely reusable. So just know that what happens right now when we launch a PSLV or GSLV or any other rocket, foreign rockets like that, they just simply launch it. The satellite is gone, and all the other particles of the rocket will fall into the ocean. Actually, that is what is actually happening right now. So what the point is, a lot of millions of dollars are actually being spent because nothing is actually we are not getting anything back. Everything is lost once the launch is there. But here we can take all the parts back. So we call it a recovery. We can reuse it. That is the point. And how big is this thing? We call it the largest, of course. We call it the tallest, of course, also. But how big is this rocket? Any idea? When compared to the largest rocket in India, which is the largest rocket in India? That is actually GSLV, Geostationary Launch Vehicle, but we have actually changed its name. There is actually PSLV, the Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, SSLV is also there. And then there was actually GSLV. So the name is actually recently changed. That is LVM3. That is the new name of GSLV. That is Launch Vehicle Mark 3. That is the name. So if I'm actually if I'm just comparing what is known as the Launch Vehicle Mark 3 with what is known as Starship, you can create something like this. That kind of height is actually only there. So just imagine how tall, how big this particular thing is. So we have to improve a lot. That is what the idea is actually all about. So this particular thing, when we are actually reusing, the cost will definitely come down. There will be more launches also. And why Elon Musk or SpaceX is actually planning this thing? Any idea? Ultimately, what is the objective? That is the point. So they are actually planning to go to Mars. Everything is actually done basically for the objective of colonization of Mars. So there must be some kind of objectives or some personal interest or anything like that. But they are actually aiming for colonization of Mars. And we know that Mars is actually inhospitable right now, but it is the next possible planet. Even though Venus is called as the Earth's twin, we cannot actually make Venus hospitable anytime soon because it is the hottest planet, one thing, and it is very close to Sun also. So a lot of different issues are there. But even though Mars is actually not the very same size of Earth, even though Mars is not the twin sister of Earth, it is the next possible planet where we can actually create colonization, or we can go to Mars. And a lot of different theories are actually coming. One thing is that Mars does not have a proper atmosphere. You need an atmosphere so that the ultraviolet rays from the sun has to be blocked. Then only we can live there. Then only we can create an atmosphere with the oxygen, etc., like that. There is no atmosphere there right now. So Elon Musk himself actually has a plan. That is the scientist, of course, has a plan. Two different ways in which Mars can be more hospitable. So what are the two different ways? There is actually a slow way. There is a fast way also. Slow way is actually by it will take some decades, some hundreds and hundreds of years. Slowly, Mars will actually getting stabilized. You will have to do a lot of chemical reactions, etc. And we have to introduce some kind of bacteria, and slowly they will actually create hospitable environment in Mars. What is the fast way? The point is, I was also thinking the very same thing. The point is, they are actually, the fast way they are thinking is actually planning to have nuclear weapons in Mars. That is simply launch an atomic bomb in the poles, North Pole and South Pole of Mars. Just imagine we are talking about applying nuclear weapons into some other planet. And when we just imagine, and not just one or two nuclear weapons, a lot of nuclear weapons will be there. So just imagine if because of the impact of these kind of large nuclear weapons, what if the orbit of the planet change? Can you think what will happen? There is actually stability right now. There is actually Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, etc. Like that. What if the planet actually changes? Its orbit changes. Some kind of changes will happen. What if just that happens? The future will be unpredictable for us also. Maybe it will come directly hit us, the Earth. So you cannot actually imagine the impact of a small asteroid or a comet that actually killed the dinosaurs. What if the Mars is actually coming to us? So these kind of things, these kind of potential issues are actually there. Everything is uncertain, unpredictable, of course. But these kind of projects, these kind of ideas are actually in the brains of different scientists. And everything, all these kind of starships, all these things are actually being done in the focus of Mars, of course. And the next thing is actually we were talking about Starship, of course. This is still in the trial phases, and that is why they captured the particular engine back. And what is the current largest rockets? The current largest rockets are Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. All these things are actually Starship only. This particular SpaceX only, and this Starship is actually much bigger than even the Falcon 9 rocket. That is what the current status is actually about. And not just that, the SpaceX is also planning to have orbital refueling of their rockets. Why? Because when we are actually going to Mars, for example, when initially we have to just launch our rocket, the rocket will continue to roam around or orbit around the Earth, and using the gravity of the Earth, it will push it into the Mars orbit. That is actually happening right now. It will take some 6 months, something like that, to reach Mars actually. What if we have one rocket stationary in space which is full of fuel? So just send a rocket without any satellite, have the fuel inside it, send another rocket to Mars. So when it comes there, this rocket will transfer the fuel to this particular rocket. So you don't have to wait for 6 months to orbit, etc. Go directly to Mars. So these kind of things are actually happening, and mid-air refueling, orbital refueling, everything is actually being implemented and planned by what is known as SpaceX. And I'm just giving you a comparison of our largest rocket, that is Launch Vehicle Mark 3, or we just call it GSLV Mark 3. Now it is on as Launch Vehicle Mark 3. So just imagine how small it is actually, because it can carry a payload of something like 8,000 kilograms. And when we call this particular thing Falcon Heavy, it can actually carry something like a 6,300, something like that, almost 64,000 kilograms. We were talking about Starship, right? And which is actually even more heavier than Falcon Heavy. So what is actually, when I say that the Starship is so heavy, even this than this particular thing, this Starship can actually carry something like 1.5 lakh kilograms of weight. So just imagine this, compare it with our largest rocket, which can carry something like 8,000 kilograms. So that means we have to pick up the pace. We have to improve very much, so that then only we can actually catch up with these kind of inventions and innovations.
Mechazilla had caught the booster.
This is absolutely insane. On the first ever attempt, we have successfully caught the Super Heavy booster back at the launch tower.
What an incredible view!
Are you kidding?